Hey guys, Nathan here, back again with another video, and in today's video I am going to be discussing the whether Saudi Arabia and the Middle East as a whole are going to be the new future of sport. A lot of this comes down to things such as the Qatari World Cup that was held in 2022, and also Ronaldo going to the Saudi League, which obviously was big news at the time. So I'd like to, look deeper into sport in the Middle East and see whether that is the direction where sport is heading. So sit back and enjoy my video on whether the Middle East, the potential of the Middle East taking over the sporting world. But before we move any further, don't forget to like the video, comment down below what you think on the topic and also what you want to see next. And don't forget to subscribe, because a lot of people that have been watching my videos, you aren't subscribed, and it just takes 1 second out of your day to subscribe, help grow the channel, help me up the production quality of these videos, start making more videos, just spreading joy. But without being further ado, let's get into the video on whether Saudi Arabia and the Middle East as a whole are the future of sport. First things first, we've got public perception. Because for as long as I can remember, the public perception around the Middle East has never been very good. From a Western perspective anyway, as obviously someone that grew up in the UK. A lot of the things you hear about the Middle East are very, very negative, such as things of, oh, they're backwards over there. Women weren't able to drive in Saudi Arabia for however long, and whether you agree with these statements or not is not like the discussion topic. But a lot of it is negative, and then you'd also hear a lot of slurs towards people from these regions, and I know that quite heavily as someone that is from an Arab background and that looks like this. I don't know, you might not think that I look traditionally Arab, but some people do. Some people say some very nasty things towards me. Life goes on. But anyway, yeah, so you hear a lot of these things. So with all that being said, the region has taken steps to increase their public image and make it a lot better, clean up their public image. And one of these ways they've done that is by the UAE making Dubai a tourist hotspot in the last few years, and with a lot of influencers flying out there to create content, with Dubai being seen as the dream getaway and a place where dreams can become a reality. It has started to change people's outlook on the Middle East, and people are like, oh, Dubai's so great, like Dubai's wonderful, look at all the fast cars, the weather, the buildings, the beaches, and stuff like that. But a lot of this is possible because representatives of the country have paid these influencers to go out there and make these videos to promote the city, and this is just the first step on how they've been able to increase their public image over in the Middle East. Moving on to the second point, as you can see by my nice little swift transition that should be in there, is that in 2008, my beloved Manchester City, as you can see the scarf on the wall, was taken over by Sheikh Mansour, who is the vice president of the UAE. This takeover has led to City becoming one of the most successful teams in the Premier League era in such a short period of time. Mansour also owns multiple football clubs under his organisation name, the City Group. The City Group has also helped develop the community in Manchester by increasing tourism, because now that Man City are a powerhouse in the footballing name, and also with Man United also being one of the biggest clubs in the world, it creates a lot more tourism, because people aren't just going over there to see Man United. City are there as well, and with also the developments that went on in the to the city facilities, it opens up more jobs for the people in Manchester, which has obviously helped the community as a whole and helped the economy in Manchester. So these things aren't just benefiting the people in these countries where the owners are from. There's also got an impact on people where their businesses are based. But City aren't the only club to be lucky enough to have a big money takeover. Obviously, you have Newcastle, who've recently been taken over by Saudi owners, and they've helped them go to take the step from fighting relegation last season to Champions League football. Getting Champions League football at the end of this season, and obviously to play Champions League football next season. But they're not the team I'm here to discuss. The other team I'm here to discuss is a team that was taken over. It's another popular case study, and this team was taken over in 2011. That's Paris Saint-Germain, who were bought by Qatari Sport Investment. And you might be thinking, oh, the Qataris, why, you know, why is this such a popular case study? Well, this is because this purchase was largely to try and secure a future for the region after gas and oil reserves run dry. But that wasn't the only reason. Another reason was to try secure the bid for Qatar to host the 2022 World Cup. And obviously that happens. But that does lead me obviously on to my next point, which is the 2022 Qatar World Cup. See, nice little segues in between my points here. In the lead up to the World Cup, there was a lot of controversy around the country it was held in. This was due to human rights violations while creating some of the stadiums and stuff that were used in the country, with migrant workers obviously being used as basically slave labor, and a lot of them losing their life due to heat exhaustion, being overworked in the heat. And also around laws and religious beliefs in the country were also causing debate, because they're seen as a bit of a foreign concept to some people over here in the Western world. But due to obviously these lifestyles clashing with people from different regions, people were saying this is not a good fit for the World Cup, this and that, and you know, maybe there was some like justification to their points. That's again not what I'm here to discuss. But with all this controversy, it didn't stop this World Cup from being one of the best World Cups there has ever been. I honestly think it's obviously I'm 20 years old now. I was born in 2003, so I have some memories of the 2010 World Cup. I have quite a few memories of the 2014 World Cup. 2018 World Cup is the first World Cup that I can remember fully as of right now. And obviously the 2022 World Cup, which we're discussing now. And honestly, yeah, it was my favourite World Cup that I've watched. You've got the Mbappe hat-trick in the final, and the final being a blockbuster as it was. Like the final is probably the best game of football I've ever watched. You've got Argentina getting a shock loss to Saudi Arabia in the first game, and then going on to win the trophy. Like, it was incredible. You've got, you know, Morocco, you know, doing what they did, becoming the first African team to reach the semi-finals of a World Cup, with them also actually being an Arab country as well. So that's you know, that's a bit of, you know, adds to the subject. But yes, and this was because, and it was seen as a good World Cup because of performances on the pitch, but also fan behaviour off the pitch. People were a lot of people that went there said that it was the most family friendly World Cup that they've been to, as of being people that have travelled to multiple World Cups. And this is because obviously the Islamic religious beliefs around alcohol and stuff like that, meaning that alcohol wasn't as readily accessible as it was in other World Cups and other tournaments in the past, meaning there wasn't as much drunken and disorderly behaviour, which is a good thing. It is a good thing. Like, obviously I'm not against drinking here. I'm not trying to say that if you drink you're evil and stuff like that, but you know, when you're drunk, you know, things do get a bit rowdy, and a lot of drunk people in close proximity being passionate over something, and maybe it not going their way. In football, your team loses, you get a bit mad, the alcohol makes you a bit more aggressive. Like, you know, bad things can happen. So, you know, the Qatar World Cup was a success, and it has made people see the region. They've got a lot better PR after seeing how the World Cup played out. But moving on from the World Cup, So, the World Cup isn't the only major sporting event to be held in the Middle East, and it won't be the last. Examples of this are Formula One. Formula One has races in Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi, and Azerbaijan. There are also recently become a Grand Prix held in Qatar, which shows that Qatar are serious on becoming a powerhouse in the sporting industry as a whole, and not just football. They really want to get involved on this whole being a hub for sport. And even some of these races have become legendary in the F1 world, with the 2022 Abu Dhabi GP going down in history for the controversial ending, which ended with Max Verstappen winning the title. Don't ask me to go into detail on why it was controversial, what was wrong with it, because I don't really understand, so we'll move on swiftly from that. But Formula One isn't the only sport which is having some of its biggest events held in the Middle East. Boxing is another example of the sport where there's a power shift on the cards. No pun intended there. But with boxing always being seen as a US sport, it's been heavily based in the US, Vegas and places like that, with some fights even being held in London, in the UK. But since 2022, a lot of big fights have been held in the UAE and Saudi Arabia, and this is because where all the money is. And you're going to see that as a bit of a theme going on, because as we segue into as my next point, which is PGA merging, the PGA Tour merging with LIV Golf. LIV Golf caused quite a stir in the world of golf with its launch in 2022, with it being a Saudi-backed golf circuit, which has been luring some of the best golf players in the world to go join them because of the big money that's with the amount of money that's on offer. And obviously, in the sporting world, this is seen as very unethical when athletes just go somewhere just for the money, or go do something at a lesser as a competition that's seen lesser just for the money, which is weird. We're criticizing people for going to a job that's going to pay them more. It's crazy to think about when you put it in that context. But as I was writing this script, it has been announced that the PGA Tour and DP World Tour have merged with LIV Golf, and this news has come to as a bit of a shock to obviously the world of golf. But this is probably because the PGA was scared of their competition, their up and coming competition, and they didn't want to be shown up in the field where they're the big dogs. So they've quickly merged. They can still share in the profits. All these top tier golfers can get their big payouts in Saudi, and it's fine for everybody. We're now on to my bread and butter personally. So at the beginning of 2023, Ronaldo signed for Saudi Arabian side Al Nassr after he was released by Manchester United. The 5-time Ballon d'Or winner signed a 2-year deal, which he earns £175 million a year. That is crazy money. I told you that this is where the Middle East is where all the money is in sport, and that's why people are taking these deals, because it's a payday. It's a very, very big payday. And as much as you say, whether you like it or not, you can't turn down these big paydays. You wouldn't turn down a big payday. I wouldn't turn down a big payday. It's just the way the world works. But with Ronaldo being one of the greatest players to ever play the game, it has increased, the coverage around the league is increased with Sky and BT showing El Nassr games on TV. There being a lot more clips on the internet by these broadcasters, these big broadcasters of the league, because Ronaldo's there. Ronaldo has made it so that people care about this league. It's the same way that Sky would never broadcast the National League until Wrexham were bought by Ryan Reynolds, and now there's money and now there's a reason for them to show the National League. It's not a coincidence. But it doesn't stop with Ronaldo, because Benzema, one-time Ballon d'Or winner, and Messi, the greatest player of all time, 7-time Ballon d'Or winner, also being offered big money contracts to move to Saudi Arabia, which again proving that's where all the money's at. But if they're offering all of these big players big money, they clearly think that they can increase the popularity around their league, bringing in more viewers, people that want to watch these big players like Messi, Ronaldo, Benzema, and also tourism, because people are going to want to go see these players live. Like, just like you'd know people that went to, you'd go to school with people and they'd be like, oh yeah, I went to Spain and we went to go watch Barcelona because I really wanted to see Messi play. Like, people are going to be going to Saudi Arabia because they want to see Ronaldo play before he retires. And you can't blame them, because it is a once in a lifetime experience. So it's a very smart move from them in a footballing sense and in a tourism sense. But that's all I have to say on that. Moving on to my conclusion and my final thoughts is, in conclusion, I think some of these sports, the Middle East, are gonna reign supreme in a sense, such as boxing and F1, where, you know, it doesn't really, I'm not really too sure how to explain, but with boxing, obviously you go out there, you have your fight, big payday, you know, like it doesn't really matter. F1, you've got all of these tracks around the world, like it's not just strictly based there, but these tracks can become very popular. You know, more tourism is built up because people are going out there to see these races. But with football, it's a bit different, and the reason I don't think they'll reign supreme in football is because you have leagues like the MLS and the Chinese Super League, which have flirted with the idea of taking over football before, with luring all these big players away on their big money contracts, but it always falls flat. There's always something missing, and it ends up just being a retirement home for the older players that are just wanting a final payday. And that's what I think is going to happen with the Saudi League, because when it comes to football, there's nothing like playing in Europe, playing for the European Champions League. Like, there's just nothing like it. Nothing can compete. So I feel like if a big European league, such as, like, I don't know, the Belgian league or the Portuguese league, or even the Eredivisie, like leagues that are like, they're good, but they're not like the Bundesliga, Serie A, La Liga, Ligue 1, and the Premier League. If one of those was to do it, then I think that the Premier League and La Liga and the Bundesliga would have to, and even the Serie A has had a big revival recently, would have to be a bit on their toes. But because these leagues aren't in Europe, that have mostly been trying it, I feel like it is the European football is safe for the time being. But that has been everything that I've wanted to say on this topic. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please leave a like, comment down below what you thought, and comment down below what you want to see next. Go check out all the other videos on my channel, and like I said at the start, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Peace.